Dash food might just be one of the most significant items the Mario Kart series has ever introduced. While its gameplay functions are nothing too grand, its unique ability to change the appearances of characters is extremely unique, to the point this marks the very first time some of these characters have sported different looks than a usual iconic one. Characters like Birdo and King Boo, for example, have genuinely never worn clothes prior to this title. And with the arrival of a whole bunch of outfits comes a surprising amount of information for me to sift through and look at hidden little connections that may possibly reveal some new details about this cast we all know so well. For example, the way Dash food works makes it quite interesting to look at what food does what. Now, obviously the main focus of this item is that you pick up a bag at a location of your choice, after which you get a meal that reflects the location, which then gives your character an outfit based on said location. However, things are not always that simple. Take for example the Japanese themed food at Cheep Cheep Falls. Unlike other points on the map, this place has several food items available that are completely different in design. You have takoyaki, a fried apple, a taiyaki shaped like a Cheep Cheep, and various plates of sushi based meals. Despite these differences, however, all these food items transform your character into the same look, with the only difference being how big the boost is you receive. Now, the speed difference is not massive, you can never get your way out of a blue shell with one for example, but at least it explains why there are so many different meals. But despite them all being Japanese themed, they actually give out a lot more outfits than just Japanese themed ones. Mario, Luigi and Peach, yeah, they get the happy and yukata wear, just like Yoshi gets Matsuri. But Daisy and Baby Mario, for example, can also change looks with this item, transforming into their swimwear looks. Yoshi also has a swimwear look though, yet he doesn't get his from these Japanese foods, and instead from fish and chips as found near Koopa Troopa Beach, where Daisy and Baby Mario also get swimwear. But then you have Wario. He becomes Biker Wario from fish and chips, but Work Crew Wario from Japanese foods. Point being, there are a lot of inconsistencies here, way too many to be random. It's clear that Nintendo specifically made conscious decisions on what outfit is obtained where. And that is important information to keep in mind as we move on to what I really want to talk about. What food items return characters to their original look? Their iconic one, the one they start the game with. Every character has certain Dash foods that reverts their look back to how they started. To an extent, there is a balance between how many outfits a character has and how many foods return them to normal. For example, DK and Pauline only have one outfit, a crying shame, and they also have a ton of food that returns them to normal. That would make it easy to say that this is simply all designed around gameplay, that what foods turn which characters back to normal doesn't really matter. But I don't agree. Take Bowser Jr. He has only 3 outfits, very little. And yet, there is only one specific piece of food that turns Bowser Jr. back to normal. Mind you, that is as much as Mario, and he has 9 available outfits. So what is up with that? Well, I think there is a relationship between who the characters are and what the items are that return them to normal. After all, those are the meals that remind them of themselves, of their homes, of who they truly are. And I have evidence for that. Cue the only item that turns everyone back to normal, the lunchbox. The food item you pack from home and then eat while you're on the go. Literally, a piece of home you bring with you. It is the perfect item to turn everyone back to normal, but more importantly, for my point in this video, it's no coincidence. It shows that Nintendo took the time to look at which foods return which characters back to normal. And I'm not saying every single food item has been carefully selected and that's what the 8 years of development time went to, but I am saying there is interesting information and pieces of lore hidden among these choices. Let's take a closer look. We'll start with the character I've already used as an example, Bowser Jr. Like I just told you, he stands out from the rest of the cast due to him only having a meager 3 outfits, yet only one food item, not counting the lunchbox, that reverts him back to normal. And that is the aforementioned Japanese foods, courtesy of Cheep Cheep Falls. Now, this is exactly what I mean. I do not believe this is a coincidence whatsoever when in the literal last 3D Mario game, Odyssey, Bowser's Kingdom is portrayed as Japanese themed. The reason Bowser Jr. refers to normal when he eats Japanese foods rather than, I don't know, the ice cream from Sky High Sundae is because it reminds him of home, of the Bowser Kingdom we see in Odyssey. Now, I will concede that a bit of a hole in this theory is that Bowser Jr., as well as his father, don't revert back to normal when they eat literal food from Bowser's castle, the lava curry. However, like I said, I don't think everything here was carefully chosen based on lore and references. They simply transform here because their hardcore biker look fits the hardcore style of Bowser's castle. But with the Japanese food, there is no possible gameplay reason. There is no reason I can think of why Sky High Sundae's ice cream can make Junior a pro racer and the Japanese food can't. Except for the fact that it's the perfect food to remind him of home as we see it in Odyssey. Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy and Yoshi also have one food item that reverts them back to normal. Again, not counting the lunchbox. But in their case, I find it a little less shocking than with Bowser Jr. After all, they all have a ton of outfits, so having little food that changes them back makes sense. What is interesting though is that all 5 of them revert back by eating pancakes, found at Acorn Heights and, more importantly, Peach Stadium, the centerpiece of this Mario Kart World, which I assume is meant to be this game's version of the Mushroom Kingdom in a way. So that means that arguably the 5 main heroes of the series, at least starting with Wonder in Daisy's case, all revert back to normal when they eat food found at the equivalent of Peach's castle. That definitely sounds like the taste of home once again to me. Wario also reverts back to normal with only one food item, which is bread. Now, this is exclusively found at DK Pass, which I don't immediately connect Wario with, although it is worth mentioning that the literal last Mario Kart game had a Wario-themed course that was also a snowy mountain ski resort. When we look at the other characters, all of which transform back to normal with more than one item, it of course becomes impossible to link all of those foods to their original state. For example, I see no reason why Dairy should remind Pauline of New Donk City so much she transforms back into her dress. If anything, it should turn her into Cowgirl Pauline from Thor, but that's besides the point. Even now, several items that do have that reverting effect stand out. For example, to stay with Pauline, New Donk City is of course based on New York City, which makes the returning to default effect of the pizza definitely worth highlighting. Especially since it has the same effect on Donkey Kong, who we've never literally seen in New Donk City, but come on. It's pretty clear that the original Donkey Kong is nowadays meant to be set in New Donk City. Donkey Kong also returns to normal when he eats bread, the food of his own course DK Pass. This is not common in the game at all, but it does happen one more time. The pokey pita plates found in Shy Guy Bazaar and Desert Hills will revert Shy Guy back to normal, and that's it. Before we continue on from DK though, there are 2 more Dash food related things with him I wanna highlight. First of all, I think it's noteworthy that the food of the faraway oasis is Donkey Kong themed, the DK Barrel Bites, with his iconic barrel design clearly visible. This might serve as a nod towards the fact African savanna themed levels have never really appeared in Mario games, but have been seen in Donkey Kong titles as recently as Tropical Freeze even. Secondly, we need to talk about the effect of Snack Group B on Donkey Kong. Alright, so aside from these specific foods, there are also 3 categories of Dash foods called snack groups. Each contains a drink, a bag of chips and a chocolate bar, but the flavors and color differ. For example, Snack Group C's chocolate is white, whereas B's is strawberry flavored and A's is presumably milk, plain brown chocolate. Now, the interesting thing here is that DK and Pauline both have nearly the exact same list of foods that revert them back to normal, possibly as a result of them both only having one outfit. However, there is one difference. Pauline reverts back when eating Snack Group A and C, while DK reverts when eating Snack Group B. And the reason for that? Well, it's all in the letter. ABC is no coincidence, they're named after the flavor of the drink. You've got A for apple, C for coffee, and B for banana. Exactly, DK reverts back to his old self when tasting bananas, unlike Pauline, who changes back when drinking coffee. Surely you have to agree that is not a coincidence. I can understand that to some of you this may all feel a little circumstantial, but if Bowser Jr. didn't convince you that at least some of these are intentional, Surely this one does. Now, I could go on for a bit about how Birdo refers to normal by eating the meat found at Dino Dino Jungle, a possible nod to how she's seemingly related to Yoshi's, or how Toad and Toadette both referred back when eating the same foods, possibly as a nod to how close they are, but I also want to spend some time talking about which characters have shared outfits and what we can deduce from that. A simple example is the fact that Bowser and his son, and Wario and Waluigi, have matching biker alts, and the latter even have matching Road Ruffian looks as well. Daisy, Luigi and Wario are the only characters with Oasis alts, which could be a nod to the fact both Wario and Daisy hail from the Super Mario Land series, which is often associated with deserts, see the box art for proof. And for Luigi, it of course adds flames to the will they won't they fire he has going on with Daisy. Shy Guy and Lakitu both have pit crew alts, referencing their roles as staff members at Mario Kart events, which does make Toad a little left out, but hey, maybe we'll get him later down the line. These two enemies are also some of the only characters without a Pro Racer alt, possibly a nod to how the other characters have much more racing experience than them. Well, all except for Donkey Kong and Pauline, who also don't have Pro Racer looks. But hey, this is Pauline's first time in the base game, and I guess that with his current look, that also goes for DK, so maybe they're yet to earn the status of Pro Racer. It's a little weird, sure, but is it really that much stranger than what baby Mario and Luigi having construction worker alts implies about child labor laws in the Mushroom Kingdom? Or the fact that the Yoshi alt with the most clothes on is his swimwear look? I don't think so. That's about all I have for you today, but have you noticed any secret details hidden in the Dash food items yourself? Or perhaps a theory of your own? Share it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on all my future Mario content coming up. For now, thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.